She was standing by the sink, scrolling her phone with a look that said I was background noise. Then she put it down like she was dropping a verdict. "I'm not your maid," Brooke announced. "I'm done cleaning, done cooking. I'm tired of it." I set my coffee on the counter and kept my voice steady. "Cool. Then I'm not your wallet. I'm done paying for everything you want." We stared at each other over a silent kitchen. The dishwasher hummed like a referee trying to pretend nothing was happening. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have boxed it up sooner. But I didn't. I gave it one honest chance, my version of it. She folded her arms. "So you're just going to what? Punish me because I don't want to scrub toilets?" "Not punish. Align. If you're out on the home front by choice, I'm out on the unlimited funding." That's pathetic. What's pathetic is calling a house a hotel and asking me to be the concierge. Her mouth barely moved. "We'll see." We did. The next night, I laid out the new plan at the table. No speech, just bullet points on a yellow notepad. Rent and utilities stay covered. Groceries split. Personal spending separate. Joint card suspended. She stared at the pad like it was written in code. "You're really doing this," she said. "I am. You always like playing provider. I like fair." She pushed her chair back, just enough to squeak. "You just admitted you like control." "I like order," I said. "If you don't want to run a home, don't. But you don't get to run up a list either." "Why are you being so dramatic?" "Budgets aren't dramatic. They're math." She smirked. "You're cheap. That's the real story. I've been paying for a house, 2 cars, your classes, your trips, and most of your closet. If this is cheap, the dictionary needs a rewrite. Keep a tally, why don't you?" "I already have. That's how budgets work." She flicked the notepad with a nail. "And the cleaner you want to hire? Or do I do that now?" "If you want a cleaner because you don't want to do it, hire one," I replied. "From your side." "So I pay for a cleaner to clean your mess?" "Great system, Ethan. Then we handle our own messes." "Choose." "Here's my choice. I won't live like a roommate." "You don't have to," I said. "You can be a partner. Partners pull weight." She laughed without sound. "You think anyone would buy this speech?" "They already do," I said. "It's called Every Adult I Know with Working Agreements." She grabbed her phone. "I'm texting Kelsey. She'll love this. Invite her to love it from her place." Brooke's eyes narrowed. "You're serious?" "Serious enough that the joint card is paused as of an hour ago," I told her. "I called the bank on my lunch break." "You didn't?" I shrugged. "Check your wallet." She pulled the card, opened her banking app, and her jaw tightened. "You're unbelievable." "No, just done." She pointed at the fridge. "So what? We label shelves like college. If that helps you, go for it. I'll shop for what I eat. You do the same. You're turning this house into a spreadsheet. I'm turning it into something I can live with." She paused, lifted her chin. "You'll crack first." "Maybe." I slid the notepad across. "We start tomorrow." She took a picture of the pad and walked off. 10 minutes later, I heard her laughing on speaker with Kelsey. I didn't catch the words, but the tone was the kind you use about a teenager who got grounded. I put my notepad away. In the morning, I'd open a second checking account and adjust deposits. I wasn't waiting for another vote. 2 days in, the house turned quiet. Not peaceful. Quiet in that heavy way when 2 people are waiting to see who breaks. I woke earlier, hit the gym before sunrise, and ate at the diner near the shop after. The kitchen stayed as I left it. She didn't touch my lunch containers. I didn't touch the sink she used for her smoothie jars. At work, Diego leaned against my bay door, chewing gum like it owed him money. "We've worked together 8 years. He doesn't do delicate." "You look like you slept in a parking lot," he said. "I slept fine," I replied, sliding a clipboard to him. "We're changing some home protocols." He grinned. "That code for somebody's on the couch. It's code for cleaning up lines." I nodded at the cars. "You on the Camry inspection?" "Yep." He paused. "You good, boss?" "I will be." He nodded once. "That's our language." At lunch, I called payroll and split my deposit. A new account, separate card. I removed Brooke's name as an authorized user from the old credit card. It took 10 minutes and a calm voice. I didn't feel good. I felt clean. That evening, I brought home a printed budget and a small whiteboard. She was scrolling again, legs tucked under her like we were 19. I set both on the coffee table. She didn't look up. "What's this, office hours?" "Clarity," I told her. "Rent's due Friday. I'll send what I always do. Your part on groceries went unbought." I ordered takeout. "For you?" I said. "I cooked my own." I'm not splitting a bill that wasn't discussed. You always ordered for me. That was when we were a team. She set her phone down. Why are you doing this to us? Because I'm not paying for someone who refuses to be here or do anything here. I answered. Pick one. Show up with effort or show up with your own wallet. You're not a judge. Just the bill payer. That changes. She studied me, eyes moving like she was running math on a stranger. You're really serious, she said, softer. I am. Her fingers drummed the couch. Okay, she said too quickly. Okay, maybe I overreacted. I was tired. Work around the house it's a lot. You opted out of it, I reminded her. I know. She stood, went to the kitchen, started pulling pans. Let me make dinner. Your favorite. I'll handle the dishes. We can reset. My guard drifted a notch. Not down, just looser. Dinner is fine, I said. The budget stays. She smiled without teeth. Sure, I get it. She did the whole scene. Chopping, stirring, plating. It smelled like the early years. She poured me sweet tea, asked about the shop, nodded in all the right places. When the plates were empty, she rested her chin on her hand like we were in a good movie. Since we're good, she said lightly. Can you cover the deposit for the trip? Just the deposit. I'll pay the rest later. I stared at her. There it was, the bill tucked inside the apology. No. Her eyebrows rose. It's just a deposit. It's just the old script with a new opener. She leaned back. So all that talk about partners was a lecture. All that talk about budget was a boundary, I said. The dinner was nice. Thank you. The answer is still no. The smile thinned. You're unbelievable. I've heard that one. She stood, sliding her plate into the sink and leaving it there on purpose. Her hands wiped an imaginary crumb off the counter. Kelsey says men pull this when they can't keep up. She's welcome to fear a calculator at her house, I said. Brooke's phone buzzed. She smirked at the message and walked toward the bedroom. Girls' night Friday, she called. We're booking the trip. You'll come around. Enjoy your night, I answered. I stayed at the table, looking at the whiteboard, then wrote in black marker. Rent, utilities, my car, insurance, me. Groceries, split. Dining out, separate. Cleaner, optional, personal expense. Friday was 2 days away. So was the next move. Mike's backyard smelled like charcoal and cut grass. He's a neighbor and a good man. The kind who loans a ladder without a speech. We were there for his son's birthday. Paper plates, kids screaming, adults pretending to love it. Diego came with his wife. Kelsey showed, of course, in a sundress that said she was in the business of commentary. Brooke stuck to a circle of women near the folding table. She had that grin she uses when she wants an audience. I kept to the grill with Mike, passing out burgers, laughing at nothing, keeping my side light. Diego bumped me with his elbow. Your wife's in a panel discussion about budgets. I figured, I said. We weren't hiding. Let it be public. Kelsey's voice carried. I told her, if a man starts counting how many paper towels you use, you pack a bag. Diego snorted. Who counts paper towels? People who think money is the only way to have a say, another woman added. Brooke gestured toward me. He paused my card. My card. Their faces swung to me like I was a museum exhibit. I wiped my hands on a towel and stepped closer, not enough to loom, just enough that my voice didn't have to climb a hill. That card was mine, I said calm. You were on it as a courtesy. Courtesy ended. Kelsey crossed her arms. So she cooks and cleans and you. She opted out of both. I cut in, still level. Her choice. My choice followed. Brooke tilted her head. Hear the lawyer? I'm not a lawyer, I said. I'm the one who pays the bills. Mike forced a laugh. Burgers are ready, he called to the group, pretending to redirect. No one moved. Brooke looked me up and down like she was assigning a grade. You know what this is, Mike? He's tight. He's always been tight. Pretends it's about principles. It's about his ego and his little shop. Diego's face went blank. He doesn't do speeches in my defense, but he hears tone like a mechanic hears noise. Brooke, I said, keeping my hands on the tongs. If you need to tell a story about me, pick one that doesn't require me to fund your vacations. She laughed, too loud. Vacations? It's a girl's trip. I shouldn't have to ask permission. You don't. You just can't send me the invoice. You're so insecure, she said. I set the tongs down and faced the group. Since we're clarifying, I said, we're going Dutch on anything that isn't shelter or heat. I've removed Brooke as an authorized user on my card. If you see her ask to split a tab, that's not me being cheap. That's me being aligned. It wasn't a speech. It was a posted sign. Kelsey rolled her eyes. Wow. Public humiliation. Classy. You started public, I said. I'm just labeling the bins. Brooke's voice sharpened. Pay for my trip, Ethan. No. Then we're done. There it was. Not a threat. An attempt at leverage wrapped in a dare. Mike stepped half an inch closer like a guy edging near a rail. I nodded once. If that's your line, I respect it. She blinked, recalculating. I'm serious. So am I. She waited for me to scramble, to beg, to do the discount dance. I flipped burgers. Diego cleared his throat. Kid needs a candle, he told Mike, and walked away to grab matches, because I think he understood what was about to happen needed fewer eyes. Brooke watched him go and looked disappointed that he didn't stay for the show. I'm not playing roommate with a man who won't take care of me, she said to the air. I'm not playing parent with a woman who won't take care of herself, I replied. Pick one, she said chin high. Pay like before, or we call it. I reached into my back pocket and felt the edge of the envelope. I'd picked it up that morning from my office safe. Not because I wanted drama at a neighbor's party, because I'd already closed the loop in my head and I was done pretending otherwise. I let my hand rest there and decided against it, for the moment. Not at Mike's grill, not with his kid within earshot. Not here. We'll finish this at home, I told her. She smiled like she'd won. Great. I carried 2 platters to the table, nodding to Mike's thanks, greeting kids with the practiced grin of a coach. I knew the next move. She thought she did too. That gap was the only leverage left in the room, and it belonged to me. Monday, she showed up at the shop around noon with a paper bag and a smile that was too careful. Angela, my office manager, glanced at me with the kind of expression that says, "Want cover?" I waved it off. Brooke walked in like the place belonged to her and set the bag on my desk. I brought lunch, she said. From that place you like. I eat at my bench, I answered neutral. But thanks. She opened the bag and started laying out containers. I was harsh at Mike's, she began. I shouldn't have said what I said. I was just trying to be funny. You were trying to be public, I corrected. Okay, she said quickly, palms up. You're right. I got carried away. I hate fighting with you. You don't hate the perks, I said. You hate the new math. If this is about the card, I can live without the card, she replied. I'll do my own card. I'll try the chores again, if that's the only way this works. No chores for cash trade, I told her. We're not bartering. She peered at me. You're being so rigid. I'm being clear. Angela tapped her keyboard with interest in another universe. Diego pretended to read a work order. Brooke leaned on my desk. I know I pushed, she said softly. I know you felt used. I'm sorry. Can we put it behind us? You can put it behind you, I said. The budget stays. She breathed through her nose, regrouped. What if I pick up a part-time thing, she offered. A few shifts a week. Would that make you happier? It would make you an adult funding your own wants, I replied. Happiness is a separate category. So if I work, you go back to normal? No, I said. We don't go back. We go forward with boundaries. Which are? Exactly what I wrote down, I said. Rent and utilities on me, day-to-day split, extras on your dime. Respect in public and private. She studied me like she was trying to figure out how I'd changed locks without touching a door. Then she reached out, touched my arm. You're a good man, she murmured. I know that. I don't want to lose this. You're not losing anything I'm taking, I replied. You're losing access to what you refuse to respect. Her hand fell away. You've thought about this, she said. Long enough to know what I'm done with. She tried one more pivot. I talked to my aunt, she said. We could use her cabin in the mountains next month. No flights. Cheap. We could take a break and reset. It's a nice idea, I said. It's also an old trick. Her smile faded. I'm offering time. You can't buy that. I'm not trying to buy anything, I answered. Just making sure the price tag isn't on my back. She straightened. You know what, fine. Keep your budget. I'll plan my own life. That's the idea. She packed the containers back into the bag with little precise motions and left without another word. Angela looked at me. You sure? She asked. I'm sure. You look sure, she said. Just checking. I filed on Friday, I said, almost to myself. Her eyebrows moved. You don't play around. I don't dance when someone pulls the music like a test. Diego whistled low. You're done. I'm done, I said. We got back to work. That night, I slept like someone had finally turned off a buzzing light in another room. She came in hot 2 nights later. I was finishing emails at the dining table. She stood in the doorway, blue light from her phone on her face, like she'd been watching herself rehearse. We're having this out, she said. Okay. I'm not living under some stupid roommate contract you wrote, she started. Either you pay like before, or we end it. I won't be disrespected in my own home. You made your home into a lounge, I said. And you're calling it respect to have me fund it. Pick, she said. Now. I reached into my messenger bag and put the envelope on the table. She didn't recognize it at first. Then she saw the tabs. Her eyes flicked to me. What is that? Truth in paper, I answered. I signed. The county will send you their letter when they do. Her expression slid like a plate on a tablecloth. You didn't. I did. She grabbed the envelope, flipped through it, saw the notary's stamp and the neat stack of forms. You're insane, she whispered. No. I'm finished. She clutched the envelope to her chest. You did this without talking to me. I tried to talk, I said. You tried to spend. She laughed, high and sharp. You can't be serious. As serious as you were at Mike's when you announced terms. She set the envelope down carefully, like it might start a fire. We can fix this. We're past fixing, I said. We're at packing. Her mouth opened and closed. Are you kidding me? There's a storage pod scheduled for Friday, I continued. Your clothes, your things. I made a list of what's yours and marked it with blue tape in the closets. You can take anything with blue tape. If you want to discuss something not taped, we can take pictures and decide later like adults. You tape my stuff? Organized, not damaged. You're insane, she said again, but her voice had dropped a level. I'll be at a motel Friday and Saturday, I told her. Back Sunday at 5. I expect the pod to be gone by then. She took a step closer, eyes shining with a heat I'd seen 100 times when she was winning something. You're overreacting. I was joking at the party. You weren't, I said. You were showing me the rule book. I read it. I opted out. She didn't speak for a beat. Then, say you take it back and we can try again. No. Just say it. No. She threw her hands up. You just want to punish me. I want my dignity back. She swallowed. I'll cook. I'll clean. No bargain. I'll get a job this week. Do that for you, I said. Not to buy me. She stared. Then softer. Ethan, come on. We have history. We do, I agreed. And this is where it ends. She shook her head fast, like it could change the shape of the room. What will people say? That you got exactly what you asked for, I said. Her phone buzzed on the counter. She didn't check it. I don't want to go, she said. Real words, finally. I didn't want you to set terms you didn't intend to follow, I replied. Here we are. She touched the envelope again. You already signed? I did. You're a monster, she spat. No, I said quietly. I'm a man who needed a line. Now we have one. She stood there breathing, then switched angles like a chess player who found a new side of the board. Okay, she said. Okay. I messed up. I pushed. I said things I shouldn't have. I'm sorry. Let's slow down. Let's talk to someone. We can drop it. I shook my head. No more committee votes. No more timeouts. The line holds. She came around the table and put a hand on my shoulder. It stayed there for a second, then slid away when I didn't move. I'll pack what you marked, she said finally. I'll need help with the pod. It comes with a dolly, I replied. She laughed once, a sound with a lot of edges. Then she picked up the envelope and walked down the hall. The bedroom door clicked shut. I turned back to my emails and finished what I started. There wasn't anything left to debate. Friday afternoon, I left the key on the counter and a note with the pod number and the customer service line. Then I took my overnight bag and drove to a motel off the highway, the kind designed for men who prefer plain walls. I watched a ball game, answered nothing, and slept 8 hours straight. Saturday morning, Diego texted. You good? All set, I replied. He sent a thumbs up and nothing else. That's why he's a friend. By Sunday at 5, the driveway was empty except for my truck and the rented pod sitting like a quiet elevator on the curb. Inside, blue tape tags were missing from closets. The guest room closet door was open and half the hangers were gone. The bathroom cabinet looked like a shelf at a store right after a sale, gaps where bottles had been. Brooke stood in the living room. She'd stacked 3 boxes near the door, but hadn't moved them yet. She wore a sweatshirt like she was trying to signal softness. She watched me put my key back on my ring. I want to talk, she said. Talking time is done, I told her. You ready? She didn't move. I didn't think you'd actually go through with it. You thought I'd fold. I picked up one of the boxes, carried it to the pod. She followed. People end things over big stuff, she said. Not chores. This isn't about chores, I said, sliding the box into place. It's about respect. I said I'd try. You said you'd try in order to reset the benefits, I replied. There's a difference. She touched the pod like it could tell her a different story. Where am I supposed to go? I looked at her evenly. You're resourceful. That's cold. What you did at Mike's was cold. She bit her lip, then tried one more card. I can change. You already did, I said. Into someone who set terms with my bank account and my time. Ethan, don't, I said. Just finish. We carried boxes in silence. She worked fast when she wasn't arguing. The last piece was her suitcase, overstuffed, wheels complaining. I rolled it to the curb and clicked the pod door down. She stood on the lawn, arms crossed. The street was quiet except for a runner and a dog walker pretending not to have a front row seat. She cleared her throat. Can I come back for the rest tomorrow? There is no tomorrow for this, I answered. You have an hour until the pickup. She stared. You can't be this hard. I can be this clear. She looked down the street, then back at me. You're going to regret it. No, I said. I regret waiting this long. The pod truck turned the corner exactly on time. The driver hopped out, clipped a form to a clipboard, waved with professional boredom. Brooke watched the pod lift into the truck like it was taking away more than boxes. Maybe it was. When it was gone, I handed her a manila folder. Keys to the second car, the spare remote for the garage, a printed list of what we agreed she'd take later, photos, a couple of gifts from her family, things we had to divide with discussion. What's this? She asked, leafing through. Closure, I answered. She swallowed hard. This is really happening. It already happened. She put the folder under her arm and looked at me for a long time, searching for a crack. Please, she said finally, soft and small. Please don't do this. I stepped aside and opened the door to the empty house. We're done, Brooke. She didn't cry. That would have required being with the moment. She squared her shoulders and walked to the car with stiff steps, like she could outrun the air. The engine started. She pulled away without looking back. I stood in my driveway until the tail lights turned at the corner. Then I went inside and started my own list. Changed the alarm code. Changed the passcode on the thermostat. Called the phone company. Closed the joint account. None of it felt like a victory lap. It felt like a floor swept clean and ready for furniture that made sense. 2 months later, the house doesn't echo anymore. I added a workbench in the garage, cleaned out the junk closet, and built a rack for my tools. Saturday mornings I run with Mike. Sunday afternoons I barbecue for the small circle that shows up without a script. The shop's doing well. Diego took on another apprentice, and Angela finally got the raise I'd been promising since spring. I'm not a new man. I'm the same man with fewer drains. I met someone at the park when I took my sister's kids to throw a ball. Rachel. She has a dry sense of humor and a full schedule that has nothing to do with me. We went for coffee twice. She paid for one without a speech. We keep it simple. She knows I'm done with noise. Brooke calls almost every day. At first, long voicemails. How stupid this is. How I'm throwing away history. How she said things she didn't mean. Then shorter ones. Call me. Now it's mostly texts at odd hours. I'm sorry. Can we talk? I was wrong. I don't respond. I don't block her either. I don't need to hide from a lesson I chose. Kelsey cornered me at the grocery store once. She's miserable, she said, half accusing, half fishing. She moved into her cousin's. It's tiny. I hope she learns what she needs, I replied. You don't even care, Kelsey snapped. I cared enough to stop pretending. She made a sound that wanted to be a laugh and walked away. I bought my groceries and went home to a clean, quiet kitchen. I made dinner. I washed the dishes. I wiped the counter. Nothing heroic, just adult. Sometimes at night the house creaks and I expect to hear a pair of heels on the tile, a voice preparing its next test. There's only the ice maker and the hum of a working system. I sit on the back steps with a glass of water, watching the porch lights spread across the yard, and think about how easy it is to get used to being graded by someone who stopped doing their part. You start negotiating with nonsense. You start apologizing for asking basic things. Then you stop. The last time Brooke reached me live was a Tuesday at lunch. I picked up because my hands were greasy and the phone answered itself on my dashboard. Ethan, she said immediately. Please. I was wrong. I can do better. No, I said, steady. I'm sure you can. I'm also sure we're done. It doesn't have to be. It does, I answered. Take care. I hung up and wiped my hands. I haven't answered since. People ask if I'm angry. I'm not. Angry is what you feel when you still want something. I want respect. I have it. I made sure the cost stayed with the person who tried to rent it out. If there's a lesson, it's simple. When someone announces they're out, believe them. Don't argue with the exit sign. Hold the door. My final words to Brooke were the only ones that fit the moment, the ones I wish I'd said earlier. This isn't punishment, I told her at the threshold. It's the bill.